We never got here yesterday, so welcome to Chalkida. Today's stage is to the Olympic Village, over 186 kilometres. This is the fourth stage of the 20th edition of the Tour of Hellas. Today's Queen stage has a total elevation gain of 3,764 metres. My name is Brian Smith and I'll be guiding you through today's stage. This is the Chalkida Bridge, or it's called Europus Bridge, 395 metres in length. So today we start on the island, in fact just up along the coast near Artaka, and we head north on the island over the first category climb at Port Titsis, and then straight on to Strapones, another first category climb, before we head south back to Chalkida and over that bridge, continually heading down south towards Athens. We have one climb yet to come, a third category climb, Agios Mercouris, before we head down to the finish at the Olympic Village. So that's the route today, north and then all the way south. If you go from Chalkida to the Olympic Village, it's only 55 kilometres, but that loop over those two first category climbs makes a total distance of 186 kilometres. So here we are in the start of near Artaki, just along the coast from Chalkida, founded in 1923 by Greek refugees from Erdek, known for its beaches. A lot of Greeks have second homes, and they have these second homes in this part of the world. So earlier on today it was dry here again. Unfortunately yesterday, with the standing water and the rain, the stage was cancelled and everything wasn't awarded. So all the King of the Mountain sprints, everything was nulled. So we start today from afresh. And it was a little bit fresh for some, as final preparations were underway for today's stage. As always, the sign on, there's our race leader, still the race leader from Ecuador, Harold Lopez with his team. Big job for them today. Luke Plapp for Jaco Alula. Well, can he steal those 3 seconds or 4 seconds required to take the lead? Dignitaries as ever were awaiting to start this stage. Only 1.5 kilometres of neutralisation. So you see the jersey holders there, Harold Lopez in the leader's jersey, Luke Plapp in the points jersey, that's a red jersey. Sidlow, well, he had the King of the Mountains jersey. Bogdan Zabalenski had the white jersey of the best young rider. So the sun was shining at the start for all the riders, with two first category climbs early on in the stage. What was going to happen, and it was an attack straight away from the team from Bike Aids, and it was that man again yesterday trying to steal more points, trying to get up the roads. And also the Dutch team there, Parketel Valkenburg team. So a lot of attacks at the start of the day, but this stage was going to get tough. Here we see an attack here from Giovanni Carboni, but that was brought back by a rider from Monzon, and further up the climb it was indeed Carboni who went again. He had a small gap on a very small group heading up the first category climb of Port Titsis. You can see that the XDS Astana team were controlling things. At this stage there was only about 40 riders left in the group behind, but over the top in the mist, coming out the mist, was Carboni. Started the day over 11 minutes down, so not a danger for the general classification, but picking up 15 mountain points, which at that stage put him into second place in the competition. On to the next climb, and again it was Carboni coming over the top of the Strapones climb, first category climb, taking another 15 points. hence going into the lead in that competition. So over the top he goes, another 15 points, 30 points in total. And at that stage, Plapp had 23 and Lopez had 20. So Carboni taking those two first category climbs. We're off the descent. We've got still one sprint to come. As you see the rain starting to come down. So we've got one sprint to come as we go live here. I don't think this man is too worried about the sprints or too worried about what's happening next. He did go over the top of the first climb with about 50 seconds advantage. Then he had a maximum of about 2 minutes. But it looks as if he's just gesticulating that he's going to wait for the group behind. They're only about 30 seconds. So it's a strong start. And he really has put himself in prime position for the King of the Mountains. Maybe not the task he looked at the start of the day. Possibly looking for the stage as well. But in the flatter part of today's stage, with the sprint coming and 1/3 category climb, it's probably in his best interest to wait for the group behind as we come over this unsurfaced road here. And he's just about to be caught by a very, very select group here. The next day is Astana, have been controlling things all day today. It is a very, very small group here. So just taking the neutral service out here. So all together, pretty much at the front here. As Carboni, the early attacker, has now been caught by a very small group. Just see there that the XDS Astana here, Q36.5. You see the catch was made just at the end of that, just that unmade road there. You see the race leader is there, just looking through this group. Q36.5 are there in numbers. Can't see second place. Luke Plapp for the moment anyway. You can see last year's winner, 106 here, Ricardo Zoido. So he's made it into this front group. Just getting some instruction from his director sportif here. So numbers in this group for Q36.5. But I think the big question is, where is Luke Plapp? He did go over the top of the first climb in 3rd place. Never scored any points in the second climb of the day. But for Harold Lopez, he's in good position now. But he still has a lot of riders close in the general classification. This man here, well, he's lost some time. He's 58 seconds down. Just in front of him, you've got Janis Peter. I've got 2 riders in this group. Colin Stussy, the other one in the yellow, in the Vorarlberg team. We've also got Adrian Murray of the Unibet team. He's joined Carboni. But riding on the front of this group, you can clearly see that Q36.5 with 3 riders here are really interested in keeping this going. So again, the question is, what happened, or what has happened to Luke Plapp, second in the general classification, but taking advantage of the situation? You have to think it's Q36.5. Harold Lopez here from Ecuador, the leader of this race. He started the day 3 seconds in front of Plapp. Bogan Zawalinski is at 15 seconds. So were a few of these other riders that we have in this group. Just see that Harm van Hoeke is here, and Harm van Hoeke was on the attack earlier on today. We've got Shore Backs, number 31. He started the day in 11th place at 15 seconds. Campuri also there, 18th at 42. I've mentioned the two riders from the Vorarlberg team. Stussy we saw on the attack the other day. Adrian Meri is here joining Carboni. We're just looking back to the chasing group here. We can pick out Plapp in the points jersey, in the red points jersey there. He's got a teammate with him. Interesting to know what the gap is. I'm just looking to see. It's round about 40 odd 50 seconds. Mark Stewart on the left hand side, the Scot from Dundee, is riding. So are the team from AT&T. They had a few riders up there in the general classification: Basinski, Pekala and Monty. So Lopez is in this front group. He's got with him Diego Elise. Shore Backs, Campuri, Van Hoeke here for Q36.5. Adrian Meri and Anton Schiffer also made it. Zoido, as we've already mentioned, Peter and Stussy. So these are the chasers. The time 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Look, Plapp having to do a little bit of riding now, so this is a danger. So this is the man that instigated these things. Carboni just sitting at the back here. Not in contention in the general classification. Over 11 minutes down. So deciding that he wants to try and save a little bit of energy now. So this is a sizable group behind. So look, Plapp, he's got a little bit of help. Some different teams here. Tartaletto Isarix, Solution Tech, Zoido as well in this leading group, contributing a little bit, but not too much. So this is another group. It looks to me as if this group includes a couple of the riders from Cyprus. And Cyprus had Bogdan Zabalanski. I think that's the rider at the front. So Zabalanski was the rider there. Very difficult when they're not showing their number, but I think I can see 185. So this is the group containing, I think this could be the third group on the roads. But yeah, we have this rate split to pieces for the moment anyway. I think the Plapp group, I'm not too sure this time check is correct, but we'll wait and see. But we've been over two very difficult climbs. There's still enough time for this group to come together. And in fact, Adrias Meltiados, the Cypriot champion, is in this group. This is back to the Plapp group with Mark Stewart at the back there. Got one rider in here, Kazmarek, for the Machowski team. So a little bit of pressure on Plapp to try and come back here. So if these gaps are correct, there is still a long way to go to the finish, 92.7 kilometres to go. But there's riders everywhere for the moment anyway. 45 there is Samudio. the rider from Panama, riding for Solution Tech, Vinny Fantini. This is Campbell Stewart, and I can only think that if Campbell Stewart is riding, and he's riding to try and get up to his team leader, and that will be Luke Plapp. So I think this will be the third group on the road. This will be the second group on the road. So the second group of Plapp, given a time of 2 minutes and 38 seconds. This group here, 5 minutes down. So it does look as if it's not a great day for some of these riders here, including the Cypriot riders. But it was always going to be a very difficult start to today's stage. We had some riders warming up on the rollers. So this is your lead group. Carboni was the rider at the back there. He was the rider that went on the attack right from the start. So I'll just go through that front group again. You got Lopez, he's the race leader. And then we have Diego Alisi, he's captain and 8 times Giro d'Italia stage winner. No better rider to have next to you. And then we have 3 riders from the team of Q36.5. Short backs, Marcel Camprubi and Han van Hoeke. Carboni's got Adrian Murray with him. Anton Schiffer is here with Ricardo Zoido and Janis Peter and Colin Stussy of Vorarlberg team. That makes up the 11 riders in this front group. The reason why Vorarlberg are riding, because Stussy is at 15 seconds. He's one of these riders. There's a few riders in this group at 15 seconds. Schurbach's being one, Schiffer being another. So these riders riding with the race leader. Normally, the race leader's team would try and do the majority of the work, but Q36.5 and Vorarlberg helping out with this riding at the front. And this is helping also Q36.5. So they have got numbers here. They have 3 riders in this group. Good to see one of the Bikeade riders in here. Is Anton Schiffer, again another rider. You just see him third from the front. He started the day at 15 seconds, so there's a lot of riders thinking about the general classification here. This is the second group in the road, and they weren't riding, and Mark Stewart has decided, well, if you aren't riding, we're not taking any passengers. So they've started to attack each other, and the Scot has decided that he wants to try and take a smaller group. So it's an action here in the fourth stage. Definitely has opened this race. So 11 riders still in the lead. Just having some problems with the pictures, but bear with us. We'll be with you as soon as we get the pictures back. So those 2 first category climbs earlier on we had today, very difficult at 8.1, 8.2 kilometres in length, both about 8.7, 8.6 in average gradient. So that is really the cat amongst the pigeons, and this race is not over yet. It's always a case of XDS Astana trying to control things, but Jaco Alula have been caught in the back foot, and Luke Plapp, well, he was okay in the first climb. Second climb, well, obviously distance some of his teammates trying to come back in that third group, but 2.5 minutes is a big ask. I know there's a long way to go. There is, of course, a sprint coming up. 74.9 kilometres to go. 3:2 and 1 second on that. And that is back in Chalkida. And after that, we start heading south. And predominantly, the wind is coming from the northwest as we head off the Eboya Islands. Again, the Eboya Islands. The second largest island of the Greek islands after Crete, and there are 2 bridges that connects it to the Greek mainland. We saw one of them earlier on. The Euripus Bridge, 395 metres in length, opened on the 9th of July 1993, so it's relatively new. The older bridge, of course, a smaller bridge, a sliding drawbridge, 38 metres, built in 1858. Actually, the dates go back to that crossing being 410 BC. So the race is on. Short backs here for Q36.5. Another rider at 15 seconds. This man here, well, we saw him the other day, didn't we? On the attack. So Colin Stussy leading the way for Vorarlberg, the Swiss team, and he was the rider that, if you can remember, a couple of days ago in the mountaintop finish at Aranchova, was possibly one of the most aggressive riders. This is the chase group now. And this was instigated by Mark Stewart. Michael Hepburn was there. This is Alberto Carlo Monti, again a rider sitting at 30 seconds. Communication is key. This is Christian Oud-Eiking. So this is the front of the race, led by XTS Astana. Stego Elise leading the way. There are a couple of riders just kind of missing turns here and there, because they'll realise that a lot of riders in here will be gaining in the general classification. So important for them to ride, but less important for this man here, because he did start the day at 58 seconds. It's going to be very difficult to take 58 seconds, but a stage winner is up for grabs. Potentially Zoido, thinking of this last second category climb. It's 3.4 kilometres of length, 7.8. This is your chase group. Now, where is Plapp? They are closing down a little bit now on this flatter part. We've also got Gary and Kelly, 13th at 22 for the X-Speed team at the front now. Michael Hepburn not riding. And the reason being, he's waiting for Plapp. It's the American there, as I said. Kelly. So if they can come across, but they've got 2 minutes and 17 seconds. So this race on the Queen stage, total elevation of 3,764 metres. Most of those gained metres we've already had. In fact, 106 kilometres of this stage is uphill, and we've done most of it. This is the, I would say it has to be about the 4th group on the road now. This is Lucas Miesgets here, just at the back, Slovenian, the lead out man. So this will be the 4th group in the roads. The 3rd group will be the Luke Plapp group. 2nd group will be the Mark Stewart group. So if you can keep up, this race is split all over the place. So in the lead you have got the race leader with Diego Elise, and then you had that chase group of Mark Stewart in it. I need 5 riders for company. And then Luke Plapp is in a group just in front of this group. And then we have this group here with the 2 riders here, Campbell Stewart and Lucas Miesgets of the Jayco Alula. So this is your race leader at the front. So you get plenty of help, not just from Diego Elise, It's from some of the other riders in this race. So a good scenario for XDS to stand up, because they would have been able to do pretty much all the waiting more they did. And Harold Lopez, well, I think the big danger would have been from Luke Plapp, but he did manage to lose him on that second of the first category climbs. He's also lost some riders from the general classification, so this man here now leads the race by 15 seconds from some of the riders in this group. So he's got a little bit more of a buffer on the roads for the time being. There's actually 3 riders in here at 15 seconds. So starting the day in 6th, 10th and 11th, you've got Schiffer, Stussy and Bax. Now sure Bax has got a couple of teammates to help him. Some of the other riders thinking about moving up in the general classification as well. Diego Lacy's only at 42 seconds, but I'm pretty sure that he wants to kind of guarantee Harold Lopez and stay with him. You've got Cam Pruby of Q36.5 at 42 seconds. He's Van Hooker, who's on the attack earlier on. Well, he went off after Carboni, never got to him. He's at 53 seconds. Adrian Murray of Unibet is at 42 seconds. I've already mentioned Zoido at 58. Carboni is the kind of outsider. Very good rider, won the Tour of Japan last year. Came into this race after finishing 7th in the Coppa Bartoli last week. I had him down as an outsider. Had an exceptional start to the stage. It's that man there at the back. You can see the mark on his legs there. I think possibly maybe coming down in that first crash in stage 1. He lost a bit of time up to Aranchova and the mountaintop finish, but he's come good today. So looking good for the King of the Mountains, but he wants more than that. Another rider that's lost a little bit of time is this man's teammate, Colin Stussy's teammate, Janis Peter at 152. So this is your chase group. Go ahead, but not contributing to this one. Mark Stewart started the day in 8th place. And if Christian Odeiking is riding here, and maybe they're talking about not contributing as much, you know, that Carboni wants. So the question for Unibet Titama Rockets, how much do they contribute to this group? Because if Christian Odeiking is coming, they might want strength in numbers. Still just under 80 kilometres to go. They're coming back ever so slightly now. 2 minutes and 9 seconds. This man here, disappointed to finish second in a mountaintop finish. Wanted to try and get as many seconds as possible. Clearly unhappy, but I think he'll be happy with the situation the race is in now. He's got 15 seconds of a buffer to the rest of this group. I know it's not a lot with 10, 6 and 4 on the finishing line. And of course, Harold Lopez not being a sprinter as such, I don't think many of the riders in that front group would call themselves a sprinter. Diego Olese, of course, fast finisher when it comes to some uphill finishes, but he's his teammate. I have to say that Q36.5 in a good situation here, having 3 riders in this group of 11. And with this northwesterly wind, it does help the riders all the way. We are heading into Chalkida again. It's just so unfortunate yesterday that the decision was taken to cancel the stage. We had a little bit of rain earlier on today. Some riders are a little bit unhappy in this group. And of course the pressure is on. But the wind is a northwesterly. It's not a lot, between 5 and 8 kilometres an hour, but it will help the riders. I would think that for the rest of the stage, the average speed will be quite high. But it's clear that Hepburn are not riding. I think the big question for me is, you see Christian Oreiken looking behind us. Where is second place? Luke Plapp. This rider here, Michael Hepburn, well, in the past, he's got some great performances. He's had 3 wins. Won a stage of the Tour of Qatar. Has been the Oceania Continental Champion in the individual time trial. 2 stages of Tour of l'Avenir when he was younger. An exceptional young talent, but he's decided in his career that he wants to help others. This is Luke Plapp in the red, in the points jersey. You can just see it. They're just in front there. I think that could be the group of Mark Stewart and Hepburn. The thing for Luke Plapp, he's kind of stuck in this group. If he can actually get to the group in front, where his teammate Hepburn is there, he might salvage something from the day. But for the moment anyway, the chance of winning this race, you have to say, is slipping from his fingers. Doesn't look so happy, and I don't think I would be either. He looked good in the mountaintop finish, took that stage win. This is what happens when you've got 6-man teams coming into a race, and that's why I have to say that Q36.5, you have to take your hat off to them. Started this race with 5 riders, and they've got 3 in this front group here. I've already won a stage. Again, you just apologise, we just lost some pictures. We're just looking up to the mountains here from the finishing line. Oh, with a problem here for Shorebacks. Did he actually have a bit of an off on that left-hand corner there? And now we're going back to the Plapp group. And again, nobody riding here. So this is why we're seeing some of the attacks. So any chance of winning this race really kind of slipping through the fingers of Luke Plapp now. You see a few of the team cars deciding to go forward now. Mazowski rider Kaczmarek going on the attack, trying to go across to the Mark Stewart group. So this sprint coming up, the only sprint of the stage. It's 1.5 kilometres to go to that stage. Shorebacks is coming back. You can see they're ripping his shorts there on the left-hand side, so he did come off in that corner. Just when we had a little bit kind of technical problem there. So Shorebacks has been down on the ground. You can see the scars. His lever is bent. So that might be an opportunity when the cars come up, maybe to get that seen too. Now then, this is the Mark Stewart group, and going across here, you can see Simon Back, and also Gianni Marchand. Gianni Marchand started today at 42 seconds. Simon Back over 2 minutes. Mark Stewart group. And Mark started the day, again, one of these riders at 15 seconds. This is off the front of the Luke Plapp group. And you have to say that it doesn't seem to be a lot of energy in this group now. I think if any group is going to come back to the front of this race, and it's looking a little bit less likely. I know it's only just over 2 minutes, but they aren't gaining at all. But we're getting ready for this sprint now. And every second is going to count for the general classification here. And Short Backs has been led out. He's been on the deck just a moment ago, and he's been led out here to try and get the 3 seconds. He's sitting in second place here. He opens up with Diego Alesi trying to steal it from everybody. And Lopez is on the wheel. So Diego Alesi is sprinting, and he's moving over to Harold Lopez. And Lopez takes another 3 seconds there. So just when we thought that Harold Lopez might be losing some time to some of his rivals, Diego Alesi led him out perfectly, moved to the side, and Harold Lopez, the climber cum sprinter, takes 3 seconds. So the Ecuadorian still has a punch in his leg there against the other GC favourites. So going from 15 seconds, he now has a buffer of 18 seconds. So looking a lot better for the Ecuadorian leader of Harold Lopez. Just seeing it again from the front. Perfect lead out there. Just when Q36.5 were trying to help out Short Backs. And it looked like it's a 1-2, and even it did look as if the Unibet rider there sneaked in to get the 1 second. So it looked as if Adrian Murray took the seconds. As now we go over the bridge. This is the Euripus Bridge, 395 metres in length, opened on the 9th of July 1993. So this is a new bridge that connects Euboea Islands to the mainland. But what a sprint that was. I know that Maximum Peter Kenyuk is in the car, and he'll be extremely pleased with the situation. All going to plan for the team of XTS Astana. Another 3 seconds in the bag, so 18 seconds ahead of the rivals. And he goes back to the car just to get a few more gels. Make sure, keep concentrating. But that's how important it is to have someone like Diego Alesi with you to lead you out. So a terrific sprint there. Didn't think I'd be saying that myself, but Harold Lopez is taking another 3 seconds. But more importantly for some of the other riders, a 1 second could make the difference. So this is the new bridge, Chalkida new bridge. As I said, opened on the 9th of July 1993, so quite new. I just thought that in that sprint there when Short Backs was being led out, okay, he crashed a couple of kilometres earlier. The kind of adrenaline rush, good lead out, but Diego Alesi taking second there. Just waiting for final confirmation, but I think it was Alesi taking the 2 seconds, Adrien Marie taking the 1 second. And Adrien Marie, well, he started the day at 42 seconds, so now at 41. Doesn't make a huge difference. I think the only difference that sprint has made now is that the buffer that Harold Lopez has, instead of 15 seconds, now is 18 seconds. We do have 10, 6 and 4 on the finishing line. And of course, if this group came to the finish, you would think with the sprint that we just saw with Harold Lopez, you wouldn't discount him, wouldn't you? But Carboni, look at him. I know he's been on the attack. I think it was that crash, possibly the next day, didn't feel so good. So this was at 2 minutes, looks like, or just over 2 minutes. This is the Mark Stewart group, but they've got some passengers here. Hristo Dijking not really riding, been asked a question. Hepburn not riding. He's got Luke Platt behind, but I just don't think there's a lot of energy in that group. This is what 4 minutes looks like, because this is the group we're looking at. Impressive bridge, isn't it? Very much like the bridge we saw in stage 1. It's the Rio Interior bridge. I think the race now is on with these 11 riders. The big question now is, can the Mark Stewart group come back? I think for most of these riders, they don't want them back. The few riders in the group behind at 15 seconds also. Well, I correct myself now, at 18 seconds. So Michael Hepburn just asking for some gels. It's not going well for Checo Alula in this race. Second place in stage 1. But then a good win from Luke Platt. Put himself in second place. But today it hasn't gone particularly well. Michael Hepburn been their best rider here. And he's sitting in his second group at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. It's stretching out a little bit. This is a Luke Platt group, and he's put his warm top on. So that's the black jersey on the right hand side, and just the energy doesn't seem to be here. So I very much doubt that this group is going to make it back into the front of the race. So this is 4 minutes and 40. You see Luke Platt there in the grey 3/4 lengths. So this race being split to pieces in the Queen stage. Carboni just trying to recover. Of course, he's got a teammate with him. And Camprubi, oh, he's at 42 seconds. No, Adrian Marie, sorry, is at 42 seconds. Took a 1 second bonus there. So he's his young teammates. So there's a lot of riders moving up in the general classification, because Diego Lazy started at 42 seconds as well. Took another 2 seconds there in that sprint. So I think looking at this race now, the Podium is in that group in front. Harold Lopez with an 18 seconds for the moment anyway buffer on 3 riders in that group of 11. Anton Schiffer, Strussy and Fjord Bax. This is the Mark Stewart group. This is Michael Hepburn, Mark Stewart, Hristo Dijking, Alberto Monti, Simon Bach, Gianni Marchand and Garin Kelly. Mark Stewart, the best placed of this group of riders, 7 at 15 seconds. But the gap isn't coming down. This is the Platt group, and they're at 4:42. He's on his own, doesn't have any teammates. He's a couple of teammates in the group behind, but I'm not too sure how close they are. Getting a little bit of help from XTS Astana rider Simone Zanini. Nice little bit of sportsmanship there. And a thank you from Platt. Well, he can't see it. Just waved his fingers there. So before the sprint, we had 3 riders at 15 seconds in this group to the overall leader, Harold Lopez. That was his closest challengers. Now we have 3 riders at 18 seconds. This is one of them, Colin Stussy. The Swiss rider. He rode ever so well up to Aranchova. And now has put himself in with a good chance of trying to get a stage win. And of course, maybe move on to the podium. But we still get this second category climb to go. It comes with 19.4 to go to the finish. This man here, last year's winner, defending champion. There's another rider that you have to really kind of watch out for. I think the plan for Zoido, maybe to use that climb as a bit of a springboard. Quite a fast downhill into the finishing line. And for me, there's 2 riders in this group that are saving as much energy as possible. That's the rider at the back in the green here. We've just been talking about Zoido, and also the rider who was on the attack right from the start, Giovanni Carboni. The chase group look organised enough, but I'm not too sure organised enough to come back. Hepburn starting to ride. I think that means that it's game over for Luke Plapp, and I think we thought that anyway. That Luke Plapp, that group was going nowhere. So Michael Hepburn, I think the instruction has come. Don't sandbag in this group, but just ride a little bit, see if you can come back, potentially see what you can do on the stage. But with 2:21, it was coming down. Now it's starting to go out a little bit now. So again, just running through this group. 2 riders from XDS Astana. That's our race leader, Harold Lopez, Diego Lisi. Now we have 3 riders from Q36.5. Short backs, Marcel Kamprubbi and Harm van Hoeke. 2 riders from Unibet Titama Rockets, Giovanni Carboni and Adrian Marie. And we have from Bikeaid, Anton Schiffer, last year's winner. From Rinkel, Ricardo Zoido, and 2 riders from the Vorarlberg team, Janis Peter and Colin Stussy. So 11 riders in the front group. Most of them riding because they've got the overall to think about. Zoido will do a little bit of a turn. Carboni not doing anything. He's the rider at the back. But of course, everybody knows that he was the most attacking rider. His teammate just asking if he's okay. So I think this is the race. It's gone up to 2 minutes and 30 seconds now. It's going to be really tough to see these riders come back to the front of the race. This group includes Michael Hepburn, Mark Stewart, Christian Odeiking, Alberto Monti, Simon Bach, Gianna Marchand and Garine Kelly. Number 52 just at the back of this group is Christian Odeiking. He's got a couple of teammates in front. Number 71 there, Simon Bach from Bikeaid. Of course, he's got a teammate in front. So I think we're looking at the group that will contend for the stage win. I'd be very surprised if it come down to a sprint of 11 riders with this second category climb. And with the numbers that Q36.5 have. So I think they may start to look at the numbers game. Of course, they've got short backs in here at 15 seconds or 18 seconds virtually on the road now. This is this chase group. We've already seen, how many groups have we seen? Almost 4 groups now. There's a few riders we've lost, 1 non-starter today. and that was Machelse's Zabok that we've seen in the breakaway in the first couple of stages. This man here, well, he's got his stage win, he's got the credentials, and I thought, looking at it, he would have been good for this stage. Had a good win up to Anchovia the other day at the mountaintop finish, beating Harold Lopez. But he come unstuck on Strapona's climb. Found himself in this group. He had Michael Hepburn with him, but Michael Hepburn, well, he followed the move in front and left his team leader, and there was now been told that his team leader, it's not going to happen. So to try and ride and try and come to the front of the race, try and think about himself and stage. Just looking at Elias, one of the Greek riders involved with the action here. You can just see, just asking for someone to come through. A lot of tired legs here. I was just about to say, with one non-starter, with 114 riders on the start line, plenty of attacks to try and get in the breakaway. We hit the first of the climbs, split to pieces this race, split again in the next first category climb, and there must be groups all over the roads back towards Chalkida. But with 2 minutes and 35 seconds, it does look a lot more likely that these riders will be battling out for the stage. With expected sprint tomorrow in Athens, well, we are heading into Athens today, of course, North Athens, where the Olympic Village is. And a quick look around. There's a built back for the athletes back in 2004, the Athens Olympics, 20 years ago, or over 20 years ago now. And now, after it was built and the Olympics finished, the athletes went away. They sold the apartments to the locals. And in fact, just next to the square, or in the square, just next to where the finishing line is, the 2025 cyclocross, mountain bike cross championships are taking place as we speak. They're using the podium of this race for their backdrop. So plenty of action going on around. And so far, we've seen plenty of action on this stage. At one stage, very difficult to keep up. I think now we concentrate on the group in front, because that's where it looks as if the stage win and the overall is going to come from. Mark Stewart here. Well, he started the day at 15 seconds. You have to say he's ridden well in this race. Not renowned as a climber, very good track rider, silver medalist in Paris Olympics last year on the track. Does come up with a good performance on the road from time to time, but predominantly a track rider. You have to say, very versatile. So started the day at 15 seconds, the man from Dundee in Scotland. But unfortunately, losing out in that top 10. And if this is the gap at the finish, this is why we're seeing so many of the riders willing to ride. Apart from this man here, Giovanni Carboni, which you have to be so far, has been the most aggressive rider in this stage today. All of these riders will be in the top 10. So that's why we're seeing plenty of cooperation. You just see the salt marks on the helmet there. So although it was a very cool start, a few people were a little bit worried about the rain. That unfortunate stage yesterday with the standing water on the roads. But perfect day today, you have to say. Maybe not perfect for some, others possibly wanting a better result. But for the moment anyway, we've really had a good race over the island of Iboya. Well, we're off that island, we're heading south now, heading south to Athens. I was asking some of the locals, because at the start they were a little bit worried about the rain coming down in the mountains. It wasn't until we came off the mountains we had a small shower of rain. But the locals weren't worried. They told me that Athens is surrounded by 4 mountains and it protects the environment, and the weather is always good in Athens. And they told me if it's bad in Athens, then it's really bad everywhere else. So, and I think since I've been here, I haven't seen too much wind. So yeah, a lot of the local residents have been telling me that, and that mountain there, as we see right in front of us, looks a little bit stormy. The finish is on the other side, so we actually go over that mountain. And that's Mount Parnitha. So Athens is on the other side of that mountain range, we can see just in front of us, but we go over it and then drop down into the finish. But they were telling me that this mountain range protects Athens from the worst of the weather. So I think it's good news for us and the riders that I think we will get these good conditions all the way into the finish today. So this is the second group. Jenny Marchand, 42 seconds, 17th place in the general classification. Well, as I've already mentioned, 2:56, that's enough to put 10 of the riders in front into the top 10. So a lot of these riders moving down in the general classification. Of course, Marchand wasn't in the top 10. Mark Stewart was. Also dropping down is Garen Keeley of the X-Speed team, the Canadian team, the American in that team. Now we're going back and moving even further back to almost 6 minutes, the Luke Platt group. But you can just see that the total difference in the way that they're riding. It's following the wheel and just floating through at the front. No real speed about it. I think looking at these time gaps, I think now we concentrate in the last 60 kilometres to the 11 riders in front, because I think these two groups moving further and further behind. So with tomorrow's stage being a circuit race come the end, big chance for some of these riders not only to move into the top 10, but they will do in these time gaps. Apart from Giovanni Carboni, started over 11 minutes down, and that's why he's missing a lot of turns, just doing a little bit, but missing a lot of turns. That's number 51 there. Looks like he was involved with a crash in stage 1. Lost most of his time on stage 2 at the mountaintop finish, but he'll be wanting to try and win the stage. Already it looks as if he's going to be pulling on the King of the Mountains jersey come the end of the race. This is Elias again, and this is the group at 6 minutes now. You can imagine where the other groups are. So this group, this race split all over the place. The Queen stage, The most metres gained of any of the stages, 3,764. This group: Plapp, Simone Zanini, Walter Calzoni, Owen Gailin, Baptiste Huye, Petro Bacala, Antoine Berlin, Jakob Kasmarek, Filippo Tagliani and Pericles Elias. Mark Stewart just stretching out his legs. They did get down to just over 2 minutes when they first went on the attack. I think they're resigned to the fact that they aren't coming back to the front of the race now with just over 57 kilometres to go. I'll just go back to that sprint, the only sprint we have. Very impressed with Harold Lopez there. Another 3 seconds. So he is 18 seconds. The race isn't over because I really do believe that, especially, I think there's 2 riders looking to save as much energy as possible. I've already mentioned them, Zoido and Carboni. I think they're the danger for potentially trying to springboard for the stage. I really do think that Q36.5, and again, just apologise, I'm just losing some of the pictures. We're just going to throw over to the interview of our Greek Paralympic champion, Nikos.
Βρισκόμαστε 12 χιλιόμετρα πριν τον τερματισμό του 4ου ΕΤΑΠ στο Ολυμπιακό Χωριό. Οι αθλητές έχουν ήδη διανύσει τα 3 μεγάλα βουνά, Φορτίτσες, Δύρφη και Άγιο Μερκούριο, με 3 ενδιάμεσα σπριντ και κατευθυνόμαστε προς τον τερματισμό. Πιθανότατα εδώ τα γκρουπ θα είναι πολλά. Το μεγάλο ουσιαστικά στοίχημα του σημερινού αγώνα εδώ κάπου θα έχει φτάσει στο τέλος του, με τους πρώτους αθλητές να έχουν αποσπαστεί πιθανότατα και να πηγαίνουν να διεκδικήσουν τη νίκη στο φετινό βασιλικό ΕΤΑΠ του Γύρου Ελλάδος. Βρισκόμαστε στην τελική ευθεία του τερματισμού του 4ου ΕΤΑΠ του Γύρου, το Ολυμπιακό Χωριό. Η εκκίνηση θα έχει δοθεί από τη Χαλκίδα. Είναι ίσως το δυσκολότερο ΕΤΑΠ του φετινού Γύρου, με 180 χιλιόμετρα και πάνω από 3.700 χιλιομετρικά. Οι ποδηλάτες θα διανύσουν αρκετά μεγάλα βουνά, όπως το Δύρφη και ο Άγιος Μερκούριος. Θα έχουν κάνει ήδη 3 σπριντ ανάβασης πριν φτάσουν εδώ και αναμένουμε ίσως αυτόν τον αγώνα ένα ξεκόλλημα που ίσως κρίνει και τον νικητή του φετινού Γύρου Ελλάδος.
Thanks, Nikos. Makes it look easy, doesn't it? So just back with the second group on the roads, the chase group. Richard Nordyking not riding in this group. Of course, he's got 2 riders in front. So 11 riders in front of this group. And they've lost in the last 25 kilometres. They've lost over a minute to the leaders. We still have 1 second category climb to come today. 10, 7, 5, 3 and 1 for the first 5. Carboni now leads this King of the Mountains competition with 30 points. Plapp, he's in the 3rd group of the road at 23. Lopez still can lead, but I think he'll be concentrating on the overall than the King of the Mountains. He's at 20 points. I think the main concentration now in the last 50 odd kilometres has to be this group. This is where your stage winner is going to come from. And that is still very much undecided who is the favourite. Carboni, you have to say, possibly coming back after his crash on stage 1. Did look good earlier on today. Did he sit up in time to save a little bit more energy? And that'll be required to come the end. This stage, a longer stage than we've seen this week, 185 kilometres. Daniele Neri, former mechanic of the MTN Quebec team, now team manager of the Q36.5 team, Italian based out of Lucca. He'll be giving instruction to shorebacks Marcel Camprubi and Harm Van Hoek. I think I mentioned, was it yesterday, about Camprubi from Barcelona. His goal is to ride Volta Catalunya and win the stage around Montjuic circuit. Talking about Olympics, that's where the Olympics in Barcelona was, and we are going to the Olympic Village today where the 2004 Olympics was. Of course, Barcelona was back in 1992, a long time ago. As long as the Olympics I was at in 1996 in Atlanta. That seems a long time ago. So chase groups all over the place, and we are on the kind of flattest part of this course today. Savage start for the riders with the two first category climbs, and this is why we're seeing the race split all over the place. Race leader Lopez, well, he's had a good day so far, been controlled, he's managed to stay in front, he's taken another 3 seconds, but these are the 3 danger men in my book. Q36.5 insured back started today at 15 seconds, Camprubi at 42 and Van Hoek at 53. And the fact that Diego Olise will be the man that Lopez will go to help him if these guys start to attack, and I'm pretty sure they will, because they've got a buffer of 3 minutes and 20 to the group. This is an attacker from the Luc Plapp group. This is Zeb Kiffin at the back here. This is Kazmarek from Majowski. I think trying to work out where these riders came from. I know that Kazmarek was in the Luc Plapp group. Number 63 here is Bazinski. He started at 18 seconds down. You got Thomas Prido, the Czech champion. Oh, he started the day at 15 seconds. He rides for Elkov Kasper. So possibly a group coming back. It's the first time I've seen Prido today. Possibly a group coming back to the group of Plapp and then attacking that group. So that's a group at 4 minutes. They're not far behind this group at 40 seconds. So potentially this group could be swelling, but this is where the race is. Diego Olise, Italian, at the front. Very experienced rider. Good lead out in that previous intermediate sprint. But I'm not too sure. If I was Q36.5, I would be waiting, because everybody knows that this climb comes up. Top of it being a 19.4 to go, and of course it goes without saying that that would be the perfect springboard, but one of the best climbers in this front group of 11 is in fact a race leader, Harold Lopez, and I would think he would be able to match anything on the climb. So if I was in the car behind, especially Q36.5, I'd probably want to think about attacking before the climb, forcing the chase, forcing an issue with XDS Astana, especially Diego Lisi. But only they will know what their tactics are. I don't think I would be waiting for the climb, because that is the territory for Harold Lopez. You just see in the distance there, the left hand side, so it does look as if this group of four, just over the brow of that drag there, I think that is the Mark Stewart group. So they're coming from the Luke Plapp group. So Kiffin, a British rider born in Holland, now riding for Unibet. So Zeb Kiffin there for the Unibet team. Good to see the Czech champion here, or Czechia champion, Thomas Prido. Kazmarek. And of course, number 63, Martin Bajinski. Two of these riders at 15 seconds and one at 18 seconds. But as we can see from the time gaps, all of them missing out on the opportunity to try and finish in the top 10 in this race. So we have 11 quality riders at the front of the race. And I think with the time gap back to the group behind of 3.5 minutes, that's enough of a buffer. So it's how is Q36.5 going to play this with 3 riders? You cannot discount Vorarlberg in the yellow. And that man, Colin Stussy, who looks sprightly on a mountaintop finish on stage 2. Definitely Zoidal and Carboni would be the danger. They're not doing as much work as the others. And I would think that looking for that stage win. I think in this group, the only person, maybe 2, including Janis Peter from Vorarlberg at 152, but definitely the only person that would be given any rope in the GC battle would be Carboni for Unibet Titama Rockets, already on the attack earlier. So I'm not too sure that if the attacks do start, and I'm pretty sure they will, and possibly before the climb rather than on the climb, as previously mentioned. Best climber arguably in this group would be our race leader, Harold Lopez, and a climb of 3.4 kilometers, 7.8 average, no problem for a race leader. This is a group of Kiffin, Bazinski, Prido and Kazmarek, and they will see just round the corner there the Mark Stewart group. So 7 riders in that group: Hepburn, Stewart, Christian Ordeiking, Alberto Monti, Simon Bach, Jenny Martian, American Garin Kelly. So 7 will become 11. So we'll have in the race 11 against 11. With this second 11, looks like losing the battle to come back in the last 46 kilometres. I think the main question now is, when will the attack start? Of course, there may be some opportunities after the climb on the descent. 19.4 kilometres off that last climb. And there is the visual gap now from the 4 attackers from the Platt group. And they've managed to come across. Of course, all of these riders will be trying to get as best a place as possible. But some of these riders started today only 15 and 18 seconds off the general classification. But you have to think that for second place and also third place, Bogdan Zabolinski of the Cypriot team and Luke Platt, well, it's gone up in flames today. So 7 becomes 11 in the chasing group now. So back to the leading group now. I think with the buffer that they've got now, they can afford to hold a little bit back. Of course, they will be continuing to ride through. They want to do the turn at the front. So a little bit of kind of gamesmanship, a bit of ducking and diving, trying to save. In the back of their minds are thinking about this final climb, thinking about trying to win the stage. Of course, for many of these riders, it is about this stage, the only stage potentially they can win. I think tomorrow it'll be more for the sprinters. In fact, I think it's guaranteed more for the sprinters tomorrow. So for the riders, the more climbing types, this is a big opportunity for them, and they'll have that in the back of their minds. But everybody will be thinking exactly the same. But if I was the manager of Q36.5, I'd be looking for the opportunity, possibly for sure backs to follow the wheels, but definitely for Van Hooker to try something, and also Camprubi, because of course they need 42 and 53 seconds, and you can add another 3 seconds to that courtesy of the bonus sprint. So I think we'll see this group ride for a little bit more, because they all know that they're all going to be placed by the end of the day in the top 10, and if that is a goal for the team, then it's been a success for them. I think the gap still sitting out just over 3 minutes. So all of these riders virtually now, apart from Carboni, in the top 10. So they just want to make sure of that before they think about whereabouts in that top 10 they'll finish at the end of the day. And then of course there's that stage win up for grabs. Good to see last year's winner Ricardo Zoldo here in the green for Rinkel. It was always going to be very difficult in the team presentation. He did say that there were better riders here, and it's good to see XTS Astana and of course Jacob Alula come to this race as World Tour teams, and also Q36.5. I think this race will build. It will learn and build like every race. I've been impressed by the roads roundabout. Stayed over in Marathon last night. Some race roads. I think Mark Cavendish came here to do some training camps on a few occasions. It's a build up to the Tour de France last year. Didn't have no harm whatsoever in gaining that Project 35. I know they've had some problems with the weather in the past. It was just unfortunate with the standing water yesterday. But today's been a really good day on the Queen stage, over the mountains early on the island of Iboya. Sunny conditions all the way to Athens. I've been promised a good day in Athens tomorrow, and we'll be around about the Acropolis for the stage finish. But I think this race definitely building, and hopefully it's got a good future ahead of it. Greece does struggle a little bit in the road side of things. I know that in the past history of the Tour of Britain, events like this have to be successful to inspire the next generation. And of course, it does come down to the economy as well. It needs the sponsors. I felt a little bit for the sponsors yesterday, but I hope this race does continue to grow and grow, and that's why we're seeing some of the bigger and better teams and riders coming here. A chance, apart from yesterday, a chance to ride in the sun, or you could say up to Aranchova. Well, but I've been speaking to a few of the teams when I've been here. They've been happy, and in fact spoke to a couple of them this morning, especially Jacob Alula, and they were fingers crossed they don't get some rain today, so they're happy to be here. They're happy to race, and that's good, because if you get teams coming here like World Tour teams and not so happy, then that's not good for the race. But they're happy with the race that is run off at. Okay, we had a bit of an abnormality with the weather yesterday, but the hotels, the race routes, you know, the safety of the race, you know, I think everything's been very impressive. It's been a good race, good racing, and showing off mainland Greece that not many people get to see. I certainly have only been to one place, Thessalonica, in mainland Greece. Most people come on holiday here and head to the islands. Well, there's plenty of them to choose from, but I have to say that mainland Greece, if you're thinking about coming here, I know that sometimes these islands have got limited roads. I was in August last year, I was in Rhodes, which there is a stage race there. It was only a few weeks ago, Tour of Rhodes. They have some individual races, perfect for training. If you're looking to hire a bike, then I've got a Scottish friend that lives just outside Lindus there, hiring bikes. So if you want to go there and ride your bike, best time is either early season or late season, because the temperatures you get here are over 40 degrees. But definitely mainland, perfect. I saw some really good roads earlier on today around the island of Iboya, over around the Gulf of Corinth. Nice climbs. You feel as if you're in the Alps up in Aranchova, Delphi. If you're coming here to ride your bike, there's plenty to look at. If you're into archaeology as well, plenty of history. So definitely a place that I'd love to come back. We drove in on the famous blue line this morning. And for those of you that think that there's only a blue line on a track, the modern marathon that they had at the Olympics in 2004 here in Athens, there's a blue line for the whole of it, 26.2 miles. Of course, we go back in history to the old marathon course. And for some, this is a bit of a marathon today, 186 kilometres. But you can see this front group, they're starting to just get prepared. The hard part of the stage was the first third. The middle part was just making sure that they kind of pushed out this advantage. And they definitely have done that at 5 minutes. So the pressure is off to try and finish in the top 10. The pressure now on the stage and how they can try and wrestle that jersey off the back of this Ecuadorian rider, Harold Lopez. Only a couple of days ago, I was disappointed that he didn't win the stage and had more time. But virtually, he's got 18 seconds off a buffer, 10, 6 and 4 on the finishing line. I don't think any of these riders will be thinking about bonuses tomorrow. So he's got a really good buffer, even if he doesn't win the stage. Last year's winner, Ricardo Zoido, the Austrian. But it has settled down a little bit, bunching up a little bit. Starting to finesse, starting to think about their plan. Getting ever closer to this final climb. Second category climb. I think for Giovanni Carboni, his best challenger in the King of the Mountain, and he didn't score any points whatsoever until today. So Carboni for Unibet Titama Rockets team is 10 minutes ahead of 10 points, sorry, ahead of this man here. 10 points at the top of this second category climb. So the question is, who will be the first? If you not stopping for a natural break, of course you wouldn't, because you don't want to make that effort coming back. So if you're just having a natural break, having a gel, going back to the car, getting bottle in, stretching out, just preparing themselves for what's to come. From this group, if it came to a sprint, I'd put my money on Diego Elise. For me, he is the fastest in this group, but his job is to make sure that Harold Lopez keeps a hold of that race leader's jersey. Very important for XDS Astana. I think if you look at the points, the UCI points they have delivered this year, it's been impressive. In fact, if you looked at, just looking at the one of the green zones, the riders will stick their gels underneath their saddle, and then the green zone there, just releasing them. Somebody will collect them at the end. But if you looked at the World Tour teams and their placing this year already, in the second position in points would be XDS Astana. So the performances have been up there. Of course, UE Team Emirates are winning left, right and centre. they are the #1 team in the world, but for XDS Astana, struggling to stay in the World Tour with the points they've got. They've done exceptionally well so far. Can the Ecuadorian rider Harold Lopez win this race? Well, I think it's going to be very difficult to wrestle that lead off, but let's see what happens in the next 36.5 kilometres, because with the 10 seconds at the end, the likes of Harm van Hoeke and of course Marcel Cambrubi, well, they're going to need at least 30 odd seconds of a gap. I never finished my story about Cambrubi of Q36.5. Dearly wants to win the stage at Montjuic, coming from Barcelona. Started playing rugby at school. He never grew as big as some of his teammates. Decided it was too dangerous, he was too small. Started running, got an injury, took up cycling, and guess what? He's doing rather well, isn't he? He's in this group. Started the day at 42 seconds. I think that message is for any of you youngsters listening. If you're doing sports at school, it's good to have a little bit of variety. But if you fail at any other sport, have a look at cycling. So I think Elise at the back here, number 15, he knows what's coming. He's experienced enough to know that. He knows it's not a case of all these riders rolling into the finish and sprinting it out. He knows the attacks will come. We've got just over 10 kilometres to the base of this climb, and it does kind of drag up. There's a couple of small drags before we actually hit that potential kind of springboards. You just see that the way that they're riding through, it's not as intense as it was before. Vorarlberg have done well today. Collins Ducey, well, we've seen him on the attack and the uphill. He's got a young teammate with him, and Janis Peter. Just looking at the American just dropping off the back, but yeah, Janis Peter, 24-year-old. Just a few good results. 2022, he was second in the under-23 German Championship. So climbing well today. Just saw Karen Kelly just moved back. I think he's going back to his team car. Well, I hope he was anyway. So he's ridden well in this race so far from the Canadian team, X-Speed. This is Harm van Hoeke. He did go after he went over the top of the first climb of the day. Portitzes in second place. Only a matter of about 200 metres. So in the team cars behind, we have a little bit of discussion about the plan of attack. what that plan will be. Of course, there's a little bit of inexperience here. There'll be a few riders in here happy the fact that they're here, happy that they're going to finish in the top 10 in this race. For Vorarlberg, the Swiss team, they're going to have 2 riders in the top 10. So a mixture of World Tour, Pro Team, which is 2nd division, and 3rd division riders. Zoldo, of course, he was up riding for the Trek team in the past, so he's been up at the highest level. And there's 3 other riders that are riding at 3rd division. I've already mentioned 2 of them, Janis Peter, Colin Stussy. But you have to think that the Anton Schiffer for Bike Aid, the 25-year-old, this is going to be a good performance from him. Joined that team at the end of 2023. Got himself a contract last year, 2024, when he was the king of the mountains in the Tour of Hellas last year. Now has come back. It's the man at the front in the left hand side. So king of the mountains last year in this race, good memories, has come back and he's going to finish in the top 10. Just look to see where he finished last year. He was 25th in the general classification, so a big improvement from the young German. So good performance so far from 3 of the riders in this front group. This is a chase group. We've kind of forgotten about these riders. They're almost at 6 minutes down. We got to just over 2 minutes, well, most of them did, but 2 minutes away from the group in front. I think from now they'll have to settle for some general classification places outside of the top 10 today. The main focus will be in the group in front. I'll just go through them again as we get ever closer to this climb. We have a race leader, Harold Lopez and Diego Lisi from XDS Astana. We have short backs, Marcel Kamprubi and Harm van Hoeke from the team of Q36.5. Giovanni Carboni and Adrian Marie from Unibet Titema Rockets team. Anton Schiffer we've highlighted for Bike Aid. Ricardo Zoido in the green there for Rinkau, and Janis Peter and Colin Stussy in the yellow at the front there from the Swiss Vorarlberg team. So who's your favourite? Who do you think will win? It's hard to pick out. I think so far it's been a good day for Carboni. It looks as if he will be our new king of the mountains. Harold Lopez, oh, he's added another 3 seconds to his rivals. He's got Diego Alesi with him. It's always a strange part of the race where there's a climb coming up. Who will play their card first? Who has saved energy throughout today's stage? 186 kilometres come the end at the Olympic Village. Very difficult start in the first third of the race, with two very difficult first category climbs. And they all seem very relaxed for the moment. This second category climb, I say only 3.4 kilometres in length, 7.8 average. Top of it coming with 19.4 to go to the finishing line. The majority of it all downhill, fast running towards the finish. Of course, with this northwesterly, it will help them. Shake out the legs there from Marcel Camprubi. All these final preparations to what's coming up. Sometimes you can talk yourself out of how you're feeling. A lot of time you have to remind yourself that everybody else is in the same boat. It's not just you that has to shake the legs out and feel a little bit of pain. Everybody else is feeling it as well. They do say that cycling is chess and wheels, and it can get like that sometimes. The mind game starts. Instruction from the car behind is so important. So important to have the confidence in your ability. And of course, for many of these riders, a win today would be their first professional victory. And if you've never had that victory before, it's always very difficult to get that first one. But once you get that first one, you get a little bit of confidence, and that confidence helps. Just going to get rid of a little bit of weight. So I was just saying, the kind of gamesmanship, thinking about what's to come. The climb is coming up. Just getting rid of that little bit of weight. 2.4 to go. I really did think that someone would have had a go before the climb, because this man here, I think he'll be up for any attacks on the climb itself. Number 13, lucky for some and lucky for the Ecuadorian Harold Lopez so far. He did come into this race as not the out and out favourite, but definitely one of the favourites after his performance in the Vuelta a Catalunya. Previous to this, of course, Milano-Torino. He just finished outside the top 10 in a very tough finish up Superga climb, and he had to go up that climb twice. Isaac Del Toro, the Mexican, winning that one. This is back to the chase, and they've come a little bit closer. 4 minutes and 11. So that does suggest that the 11 riders in front are starting to play a little bit more of a tactical game, saving as much as they can. A couple of riders in here started today 15 seconds from the general classification. Totally different climbs to the mountaintop climb a couple of days ago at Aranchova. It all looks very tentative, but they continue to ride, just following the wheels in front. I've already seen over the last 5-6 kilometres a kind of preparation, shaking out the legs, the gels, the drinks, the natural break. getting ever closer to this climb, and over the top they will see Athens itself. So for the moment anyway, nobody deciding that they're going to take the chance before the climb. I really did think that that might have been a decent enough tactic, especially from the Q36.5. With this man here, the way he's climbing and even the way he's sprinting today, I think it's going to be very difficult to dislodge on this climb. I thought Q36.5 would have tried a little bit beforehand, forced Diego Lisi to chase, maybe use one of their riders, but it is in fact a Breakaway rider. Anton Schiffer has decided, well, I'm not hanging around. Carboni reacts to it. Well, they can afford to let Carboni go. He's over 11 minutes down, but Schiffer is at 15 seconds. Diego Lisi, well, he has to. He's been forced into coming across there. But there is a bit of a gap opening. Stussy not following the wheel here. So getting more tactical than anything else now. And you have to say, Q36.5, what are they doing? A little bit of indecision now. So good reaction there. He just kind of fell off the front, Anton Schiffer. Of course, Diego Lisi will not do anything here. Carboni, well, he's just thinking of the stage win. And now we see a reaction. That reaction comes from Camprubi. But I have to say, they had the numbers here. Not too sure of their tactics. It's a little bit technical coming through town here to get to the bottom of the climb. Lefts and rights. Camprubi almost on to the front of the race. But we're on the climb now. And it's Schiffer leading the way. A young German rider. Carboni, well, he says no. Diego Lisi, well, he won't do anything. And Camprubi now coming. And he's made the junction. He needs 42 seconds. And this is where Harold Lopez really has to think for himself. He's got one rider in here at 15 seconds, but of course his teammates, Diego Lisi, oh, he's sitting only at 40 seconds. It's not the perfect scenario for him, because Camprubi's only a couple of seconds behind him. And of course this man at the front here is at 15 seconds, or 18 seconds virtually, because of the bonus sprints. But I think before the top of this climb you'll see Harold Lopez, and it's happening now. I was just about to see, you see Harold Lopez. I did say that he's possibly the best climber. You don't want to take him to this climb, because this is what he can do. And going with them is Adrien Marie. And this is what a lot of these riders didn't want to happen. And that's why I couldn't understand why they didn't do something beforehand. So this was a good springboard. Come up to your teammate. So Lopez coming up here. Good performance here from Marie from Unibet Titema Rockets team. It's kind of imploded now for Q36.5. Sure, back's been dropped now. But they didn't play the tactic. Of course, he had a bit of a crash earlier on today. But he didn't want to come onto this climb with Harold Lopez. You need to put him, if you want to win the race, you have to put him under a little bit of pressure, and no one did that. The onus was taken on from the rider in front, Anton Schiffer from Bikeaids. Carboni, well, he's just sitting there. He's over 11 minutes down. He's thinking more of the stage win. And if he goes over the top here, I don't think anybody will chase. It really is steep climbing parts. But Schiffer from Bikehead is doing a tremendous ride here. King of the Mountains last year, 25th overall. Well, he's moving up even more now. Carboni, second place. The man of the day so far. The new King of the Mountains. Can he win the stage? I think that's what he's after. Zoido, well, he's looking around. Last year's winner in the green. Colin Stussy struggling a little bit now. So we're down to 6 riders at the front here. We had 3 from Q36.5. They never try to do everything before this climb, waiting for the climb, but unfortunately played into the tactics of XTS Astana. I think the best climber in the race is a race leader, and he'll be comfortable when this road goes uphill like this. Really impressed here by Schiffer, doing a tremendous job. Soido trying to come back, and maybe he will come back with Han van Hoeke. I did think Han van Hoeke tried earlier today, but by the looks of things, there's a few of these riders were trying to hold back as much as they can for this second category climb. But it's been really impressive so far from the young German rider. He went on the attack at the bottom of the climb. No one has given him a turn at the front so far. Carboni just pedalling away. Zoido is coming back, so they've eased a little bit in front. Han van Hoeke, the Belgian rider, coming for company. At least he's just looking back to see where his leader is, just making sure he's looking after him. But it has been an impressive climb by the German rider here from Bikehead, Anton Schiffer. Now, will anybody try anything before we get to the top of this climb? It really is steep in places, so he's struggling a little bit more at the back. Stussy not giving up. Well, he didn't on the climb up to Aranchova, the mountaintop finish. He didn't give up at all. What has he got left? Can he come back? Just in one of these steep parts now, Zoido starting to struggle. A couple of riders starting to struggle. So this really is a strong pace from the German rider at the front, Anton Schiffer. Could be riding himself into a potential second place. Of course, the bonuses will count. Diego Lazy starting to struggle now. So Lacy struggling. Schiffer really is riding super well on this climb. King of the Mountains last year. Said it once, I'll say it again, but really impressive. He's taking with him the race leader, Harold Lopez. Just trying to stay on there is Adrien Marie, the French rider. He's at 42 seconds off the overall. 24-year-old French rider. He won the Tour of Austria last year. So anybody that's been to Austria know that there are big mountains there, but he's just failing to stay with the two riders now. And you have to say, Anton Schiffer doing a terrific job here for Bikehead. I'll remind everybody, he's in a 3rd division team. And he has set the tempo right from the start. The only person that can stay with him is our race leader, Harold Lopez. And this group of 11 all over this last climb. This is a second category climb. We've had 2 first category climbs, and over the top came Carboni. But now Anton Schiffer, coming of age. and really showing everybody. It's been a while since I've seen a ride like this, and this sort of company, not shy about coming to the front. But we're talking about the tactics of Q36.5, trying to put a little bit of pressure on the race leader. Well, that hasn't happened at all. Having the numbers here, maybe doing something before, but that's all in the past. It's happening now, and it's happening now with Schiffer Lopez. Well, he seems comfortable enough, but he's just content in following the young German rider. Of course, Harold Lopez is only 24 himself. Schiffer just being a year older, but there's 2 rungs of the ladder between these 2 teams. 3rd Division Bikehead and XDS Astana at World Tour. You can see that style of Harold Lopez. You saw it the other day, out the saddle, sits down, and that's the way he climbs. Schiffer more in the saddle, out the saddle when we come to the steeper parts. And by the looks of things, Schiffer looks a little bit more comfortable than the Ecuadorian. Seems to be blowing a little bit more, but for the moment anyway, he's riding a super climb and riding his way in. If this stays, riding his way into 2nd place in the general classification. Virtually 18 seconds between them on the roads, stuck together. This really has been a hard climb. Of course, we've got 1 climb to come tomorrow, a 4th category climb at the start of the stage. In fact, 2 4th category climbs, but this really is detonation of this front group. 11 riders started at the bottom of the climb, and of course 114 riders started the stage today. We've only seen about not even 30 of them, splitting groups all over the place. They will be coming in dribs and drabs come the Olympic Village. So this really has been an epic Queen stage so far, and we're still 2.4 kilometres to go to the top of the climb. I think the most of the steepness is dealt with. Now we're on this kind of draggy part towards the top. Flick of the elbow, will he get any help? It's a no for now from the race leader, and I think, why should he? He is the race leader. Schiffer, he needs to find 19 seconds, so of course our race leader is not going to ride with him. He might decide otherwise over the top of the climb. But not only is Harold Lopez, and it really depends on this rider here, Carboni, but Harold Lopez going over the top of this climb. I'm not too sure he'll come past Schiffer over the top here, but if he does, he'll take 10 points and go level in points to Carboni. I don't think he's even thinking about that or worried about it. It's more of a case of making sure of this jersey. But that would mean that Carboni, he has to score. We've got 2 4th category climbs tomorrow, but if he wants to put this king of the mountains to bed, Carboni really needs to score in this climb. We just saw 1 kilometre to go, which will be even less for the riders in front. So what a steep start to that climb there. You can see Diego Lisi, well, he wants to get up to his leader because he wants to help him. So 500 metres to go. Schiffer really has put in a shift today on this climb. You've got a steep pitch just to come, and that's a killer. It just goes straight up. That's the last thing you want to see at the top of a climb. That last strong steep pitch, and our Lacey starting to ride. Some may say, why? Well, he wants to get up. He's still up there in the general classification, of course, at 40 seconds. but he wants to get up and make sure that this man wins, and also make sure that Astana gains some more points, because Elise could be moving up himself in the general classification. Diego Elise started in 15th place, but 22 seconds back to the Elise group. So I think Schiffer will lead the way over the top now. So that's that climb dealt with, just this little lip Schiffer does by the looks of things. Just come over the top of the climb, so he will take the 10 points. Lopez just happy and following now. Plenty of encouragement from the locals. So Schiffer from Lopez. So that's the hardest climb dealt with. 2 fourth cats tomorrow. So Lopez will not ride. He'll look behind, you'll see that Elise is there. And over the top, you see Carboni, he knows he wants to take points, and over the top, I think takes that 1 point. So that 1 point could be enough mathematically to make sure that he doesn't have to take a point in any of the fourth cats tomorrow. Just see a flick round. Just see that the Han van Hoeke he's on his limit now. When you're on the limit, you're glued to the wheel. You kind of take risks, move at the last minute. Tricky little descent and speedy little descent, as I've already mentioned. We'll soon be down this descent and into Olympic Village, but I don't think Lopez will do anything now. But Schiffer, what a job he's been doing on this final climb. King of the Mountains last year, 25th overall, riding himself into second place if they can stay away. I'm not too sure they will though. I think Elise and Adrian Marie will come back. Just look as if Carboni could also come back. Not too sure of Van Hoeke. Well, Van Hoeke earlier on today in the first climb, he was within 200 metres of Carboni. It was on the descent that he lost a lot of time. I think we may see a little bit of a regrouping. Of course, that would change if Lopez decided to ride, but for the moment anyway, he's not. Which is a shame for this man, because Schiffer would be riding into second place, but now the Unibet Titama Rocket team have got together. Carboni now starting to ride with Marie, and now it's an opportunity for Elise to decide, no, I've got my team leader here. There's 2 view riders here, and Marie and Carboni not really a threat to Elise if he's looking at third place in the general classification, but it's decided to stay behind. Han van Hoeke, slowly but surely. But to remember, he came over the top of the climb with Carboni. A little bit more tentative in the technical part of the top part of this course on this descent. But eventually the Belgian has come back. A few years ago he showed great signs in the Giro d'Italia. I think he held the best young riders jersey, but hasn't kind of really lived up to his potential in the last couple of years. But I've been mightily impressed with this German rider, Anton Schiffer. Only 25, never give up. Most riders, when they get to 25 and if they hadn't made it up to World Tour, tend to kind of give up. So can Marie and Carboni come back? And I think they will. And I think Diego Elise is playing this well. He did struggle a little bit on that climb, but he has got a very fast finish. This is a man that's pretty much from the start of the climb at 25 kilometres to go. Has ridden on the front for the whole climb. Dropped everybody apart from the race leader. That was 10 kilometres ago, or close to. It's just going to lips up a little bit. Small drag before we descend to the Olympic Village. So you get a small kick up now. But I think by the looks of things, Carboni, Marie, Van Hoke and Elise are going to come back. I think that would have been different if Lopez had ridden, but he's decided not to. Whether that's by choice or been told to. But I think he doesn't have to ride. He's the race leader. It's up to the others to try and gain time. This is Stussy, Zoido and Camprubi. And they're only a further kind of 20 seconds behind. He's taken the neutral service out, so this gap has come down. And it won't be long until we hit the descent again. This really has been a really tough stage today. I think there'll be riders coming in for the next 20 odd minutes. So last year's winner, Zoido, has moved up into the top 10 today. Schiffer, well, he's not giving up. He knows that if he can try and stay away, he's going to guarantee himself second place in the general classification. I think neutral service is just pulled over there. I think they'll be pulling into the group behind. I think they think like I do. Schiffer just asking Lopez, and it's a no. And now it's an unhappy Schiffer. But Schiffer has to realise that there's absolutely no reason for him to ride. It's up to Schiffer to try and drop him. He hasn't able to do that. And if there's a puncture or mishap, 15 seconds is nothing. So although Lopez may want to ride, he doesn't have to ride at all. But it has been an exceptional performance so far from Schiffer. And I think he does know that he's definitely going to be up there in the top 5. Oh. But whereabouts in that top 5, we've yet to see. I'm saying top 5 because there's 4 riders here, but I know that Carboni is over 11 minutes down in the general classification. Of course, a couple of these riders at 40, all these riders are about 40 and 50 seconds. So Schiffer, I think for me, could be sitting second place, which is no mean feat for the Bike Aid team. I think given that, at the start of the day, they would take it. So Stussy, Zoido and Camprubi. This really is a bit of a technical descent and very little opportunity to make up ground, and technical enough. We saw that Van Hoke was struggling at the technical top part, struggling now. So it's uncomfortable, and this is what I was saying, there's absolutely no reason for Lopez to ride, because if there's a puncture or overcooks it or anything, any mistake now and it's race gone. So for XDS Astana, it's about guaranteeing the win, making sure that they win this race overall. just up with her drone. So the two riders still away, Lopez and Schiffer. Unibet, Titama, Rockets trying to bring it back, still hovering around kind of 12-13 seconds, and that's just because of the nature of the descent. Very difficult to make up ground. If you were to make up ground, you would be taking a little bit more risk, and I don't think anybody wants to do that. So very difficult to see Harold Lopez. Just watch this corner now, because it's a double left. Oh, and I just say, watch this corner now. And Schiffer's off that mistake. Maybe commentator's curse, but it was a double left, and it was Schiffer that made the mistake. Did look as if he landed on soft ground, but he did go straight on, which means that Lopez is on his own now. And is this Unibet Titama coming across now? So as I was saying, any mishap, there's no reason for Harold Lopez to ride. And this is why you don't want to take any risks whatsoever. Just trying to see it. It's not clear pictures at all, but Harm van Hoeke, well, he's been distanced. He hasn't enjoyed this descent at all. I'm just trying to see who is that rider going to cross to Harold Lopez, and where is Schiffer? Is he okay? He seemed to land on the grass banking. So we now have two riders in front, and then we have three riders now chasing, not that far behind. So unfortunately, after all that hard work, Anton Schiffer makes the mistake. I do hope he's back up, and I do hope. So this is, I think it's Carboni now. So it's Carboni, it's made his way across to the race leader, Lopez. So Carboni, 10 kilometres ago now, he started the day looking for that stage win, and this is Schiffer, so he did get up very quickly. So Schiffer, I still think he'll find himself in second place come the end. You just don't need these mishaps. It was a double left, you could see from the drone footage. Just pushing it a little bit, and unfortunately taking a tumble. But he was back up quickly, back into the race. He's got Lacey and Marie for company. Carboni was the rider went across there to Harold Lopez. So going from the front and having to do all the riding, it's now down to Schiffer to do the same. And both the riders on his wheel will not contribute at all, because they have a teammate in front. So unfortunately for the 25-year-old German, he's having to do it all again himself. As you look down to the right, that's where we're heading. So 9 kilometres now. And I think after having that fall, confidence does go. I'm not too sure that Schiffer will want to take any other risks. It looks like Carboni is starting to distance Lopez a little bit now. And at least he's seeing this. Well, at least he start to ride, because I think he could be sniffing out a victory himself today. But it's Carboni. He was the rider way down in general classification. He was the rider that was missing the most, but you have to argue the fact that he was on the attack right from the start. And it is Elise. He's realised that Lopez has been distanced a little bit by Carboni, and Elise, you'd have to say, would be the fastest of the 5 riders here. We take nothing for granted. So I think XTS Astana here, not only looking to secure the overall, but looking to secure the stage. But then again, you look at that intermediate sprint. Okay, take it sometimes with a pinch of salt. It was an intermediate, it wasn't a finish, but Harold Lopez had a fine winning that intermediate sprint to take another 3 seconds. I really do think the fact that Diego Lisi did a turn there, big opportunity for Astana XDS to put their stamp on this overall and also take the victory on the stage. So this race and this stage has been highly entertaining so far, and it's Schiffer now. I said earlier on that Carboni was the man of the stage, but I have to eat my words because Anton Schiffer, for Bikeheads, mixing it with the big boys, has gone from King of the Mountains, 25th overall last year, to getting on the podium this year. One stage to go. Carboni, oh, he's not happy. He wants Lopez to ride. And this person dealt with very, very quickly. I've seen this happen in many other races. That was well dealt with. And this is why we have outrider bikes in front, safety bikes. For this to happen, it's very difficult to man every junction. And so, talking about junctions, the junction has bin made. And Diego Lisi has been forced to ride a little bit now. But he will want the others to contribute. And Schiffer is contributing because he is riding himself into second place. So this does mean that Lopez will ride a little bit as well. I think Diego Lisi, 8 stage wins in the Giro d'Italia, is eyeing up a stage win in the Tour of Hellas. So not only securing almost victory with 1 stage to go with Harold Lopez, I think this scenario they would take all day. Getting to the last 5 kilometres with Harold Lopez in this scenario, having a buffer of 18 seconds. Of course, we have to take into consideration the bonuses at the end, but the way that Lopez is riding now does really mean that they want to stay away from the small group behind, because Harm van Hoeke, well, he has to learn to descend, and he's stuck just behind. You can just see him in the distance. Don't think he's going to make it in the last 5 kilometres. And then you've got Camprubi, Zoido and Stussy. So the men from Unibet, Titema, Rockets, especially Carboni, well, he's not going to ride. He'll know. His Italian counter back in front of him is a very fast finish. So I think Unibet, Titema, Rockets will not contribute. Schiffer knows that he's riding into second place in the general classification, and he'll take that all day long. Lopez is riding now because he knows that he's got Diego Lisi. He'll be up for this stage win. I don't think we've seen the last of Carboni. I think we'll see him go on their counter-attack. So we are on the flats. We do have a couple of corners in the run-in, but in a group of 5 I don't think it will make any difference. But I'll just tell you that as we get into a kilometre to go, in 900 metres we take a sharp right, 100 metres after that we go round a roundabout, and then at 600 metres to go we take another sharp left, and then we go uphill, and they say it's about 2 or 3%. I've been out there, but it's hardly anything. I'd say 2% max. It drags up for the last 600 metres all straight to the line. You can see that both Marie and Carboni, this is a big opportunity to try and win a stage. They would dearly love that. You haven't had too much to shout about, and the games are starting to be played. But this man here, Anton Schiffer, a crash in the descent, luckily soft landing. It's been a brilliant day for the Bikehead rider, the 25-year-old German. I think this stage win is either going to go XDS Astana or Unibet Titema Rockets. I would favour the wily old dog in the Italian of Diego Alisi. But Carboni, he's going to try. Schiffer is doing a lot of work already. But he's able to close the gap. And Diego Alisi just swings over there. I've been setting it up for him today, but he's starting to show signs of tiredness. He asked for Lopez to close the gap, so it's not a guarantee for Alisi. Turn the clock back a few years and it would be guaranteed in a sprint final. But you could just see there, just missing the wheel a little bit. They know, Carboni knows, Marie knows that Alisi has got that sprint. And that's why Lopez is riding. I don't want anybody to come up through the rear. Han van Hoeke, you can see Lopez riding. He wants Alisi to win that stage. Alisi's been helping him in this race. A great asset to have. But anything can happen. What have you got left? Oh, they just hit a bump there. What have you got left in the legs after, I would say, 186 difficult kilometres? So Alisi got a problem there. He hit that bump quite hard. Sometimes that kind of puts you off your rhythm a little bit. But Schiffer, tremendous day today. Second place in the general. And here we go. We'll turn right through the roundabout, turn left, and it'll be an uphill sprint finish. So who's going to take victory in this stage? Lopez thinks it's going to be Alisi. I tend to think that as well. Carboni's on the wheel. Never discount Carboni. A sprint at this stage means that what do you have left in the legs? What have you saved? On paper, Diego Alisi is the fastest of the group here. But let's see if he can add to his tally. Carboni just hanging off the wheel. Is he going to try and surprise? I don't think he will. This is the last left-hand corner. So Alisi has had 48 wins in his career so far. Can he make it 49? He's 35. So it's going to end up in a sprint, and Lopez is leading out. Here comes Alisi. Alisi going for a long one now. Has anybody got anything left? He just moves up onto Schiffer's wheel. So a first move, second move now. But who's got anything left? And Marie's coming. So at the front there, Alisi, but is Alisi tiring? It's all the way uphill. Marie's going to take this one. It looks like it. The young Frenchman is going to beat Alisi, and he does. Unibet Titima Rockets take victory, and they take victory from Adrian Marie. What a finish that was. Unibet Titima Rockets, the 24-year-old young Frenchman, wins his first pro victory, although he won the Tour of Austria general classification and took a stage there. What a win by Unibet Titima Rockets there. On paper, Diego Alisi the fastest of finishers, but I did say in the run in, you need to have it in the legs. And he clearly didn't. He made an effort, came up with 200 metres ago, made another effort, but it was a young Frenchman that took victory here in the fourth stage in the Tour of Hellas. Han van Hoek coming up to take a good place here with his teammate Camprubi. I think Camprubi's going to beat him here, or is he? So Han van Hoek, minor places. What an exciting finish. And Unibet Titima Rockets get their victory at last.
Oh, sick. You in the climate jersey? Yes? Yeah. You had this? There was cameras there, so we have it.
Yep, just confirmation there that it is the team of Unibet Titama Rockets team that not only get the stage win, get the King of the Mountains. Does look as if Harold Lopez secures the victory. Diego Lisi comes up a little bit short in the stage win. I just thought in the run in there he's just missing a little bit, and he was missing a little bit in that final run up to the finishing line. But a good day for Unibet Titama Rockets. And you have to say also for Anton Schiffer. Let's call them in here. Janis Peter and Zord Bax. And all of these riders will move up into the top 10 in the general classification, so they have to be happy with that. With all that sprinting and running towards the finish, Harold Lopez takes third place, so he adds another few seconds. We see it again there, Lopez leading out there, Schiffer in second place. And at this stage, you can see that Ulisi, he starts to come, he opens up, he's in the wind a little bit, where Marie just sits there. He comes up a little bit further onto the wheel of Lopez. Then he opens up his sprint on the left-hand side. Marie goes on the right-hand side. This is slightly uphill, about 2-3 maximum. But Diego Ulisi just isn't in the flow, and Marie at the end was just that bit stronger than him and wins by a bike length in the end. Great victory for Unibet Titama Rockets. You have to say they deserved it. Carboni went out there from the start, took the King of the Mountains. It was always going to be very difficult to beat Diego Ulisi. Again, on paper, one of the fastest guys in these type of finishes, but he is 35. He had to do a little bit of work today. You could see a little bit of weakness in the run-in, but Unibet Titama Rockets have their day, and it's a 24-year-old Frenchman, Marie, that takes victory here on the fourth stage of the Tour of Hellas.
Ο Περικλής ο Ηλίας, φίλες και φίλοι, είναι ο τελευταίος Έλληνας που κέρδισε ΕΤΑΠ για τον Ποδηλατικό Γύρο Ελλάδος. Τα τελευταία 3 χρόνια έχει γίνει η ΔΕΗ του Ροβελάς. Το 2012 λοιπόν ο Περικλής είχε κερδίσει στη Μεθόνη το ΕΤΑΠ και είναι ο Περικλής που έχει τις πιο πολλές συμμετοχές στον ΔΕΗ του Ροβελάς με 8 συμμετοχές και είναι και ο γυρεότερος ή ο διαχρονικός.
So please stay with us. Hopefully we'll be, in this big crowd here, we'll be giving you the podium. We'll be confirming not just the winner of the King of the Mountains or the general classification, but we'll be confirming the general classification. Just over behind us and behind the riders here, Carboni and Marie, is the 2025 Mountain Bike Championships of Greece, which were happening as this race unfolded. So that's why we've got a good crowd here today. The sun is shining. It's been a great stage, I have to say. There we are. This is where the Olympians stayed. This is Olympic Village. That's the main square, just down to the left-hand side there. Just up on the left, Mount Parnitha. Just as a casino up there. There's a cable car up. Of course, there's antennas up there. It's turned out a good day. This is North Athens. This was built for the 2004 Summer Olympics. "17,000 athletes. Wonder how many people live here now. But there's nothing here before. This was built for the Olympics. Then afterwards sold on to local residents. So team manager Peter Kenya, happy, and Lopez. They would have loved to have won the stage, to put the icing on the cake. But I think first things first, secure the overall victory. So here we are. Today's stage won by Marie from Unibet Rockets. Diego Lisi in second, Harold Lopez in third, Carboni takes fourth, Schiffer fifth, Van Hoek sixth, seventh Camprubi, Zoido eighth, Stussy in ninth, and Peter in 10th. It's a stage that was run over 4 hours and 50 minutes. So we just wait confirmation. As I said in commentary, all the riders in that breakaway, apart from Carboni, will move up into the top 10. But Marie, a great win there. Cooper Bartley 32nd in the general classification. He now has his first professional victory. He's had a few good places and good races. First time I've really seen him in action myself. But he did have something left, and that was enough. Don't think you can quite believe it, but he did win. That was an exciting finish. I'm still happy for the young German rider as well. I think the young German rider Schiffer will be in second place in the general classification when we see it. So Harold Lopez strengthened his lead, and I think he will lead by 22 seconds, if my maths are correct. So that should be enough, as long as he says stay safe tomorrow.
Αυτός εδώ που τερματίζει είναι από την τσέχικη ομάδα, την ATP Investments, ο Μάρτιν Κουσίνσκι, που ήταν τρίτος πριν 2 μέρες στην Αράχοβα και πρώτος στο δεύτερο ΕΤΑΠ του Γύρου Ρόδου.
So a good win for Unibet Tita Rockets, young Frenchman Adrien Marie. So all change apart from our leader, Harold Lopez, in the general classification, and here we have it. Lopez leads from 21 seconds from Anton Schäfer. Adrien Marie goes into third place, Diego Lisa in fourth, Stussy in fifth, Camprubi in sixth, Van Hoek in seventh, Zoido in eighth, Bax in ninth, and Peter in 10th. So stay with us for the podium. Good stage today after a disappointing rain-called play to a halt yesterday. Enjoyed that myself.
Για να δούμε ποιος από τον τριών θα πάρει αυτό το μικρό σπίτι. Από την ATP Investments, φίλοι και φίλοι, ήταν ο Αλμπέρτο Κάρλο Μόντι που κέρδισε αυτό το μικρό σπίτι των τριών. Επαναλαμβάνω, σιγά σιγά μεταφερόμαστε και στο χώρο των αυτονομών. αγωνών, όπου έχουμε καλλιτεχνικές εκδηλώσεις και αργότερα τις απονομές.
And hopefully we'll see the podium, but Harold Lopez is now the leader in the points classification. Lisi's teammate in seconds, Adrian Mayer 26 points in third.